It is so bad. I mean, it's so bad prima facie. It's just bad on its face. But then we, the taxpayer who are paying for this, are not going to know who this is going to. This is so bad. It is so bad. I mean, it's so bad prima facie. It's just bad on its face. But then when you put it in context, in the fact that Americans can't afford gas, Americans can't afford groceries, farmers are going bankrupt all over this country. We are in the middle of a war that's now cost $50 billion. He wants $1.5 billion for a ballroom. He wants hundreds of $millions for an arch. He wants $15 million to paint the reflecting pool. And then you put on top of that now a $1.7 billion slush fund to pay his support.
Man, and not one program, not one fund set aside to help with childcare, grocery costs. I mean, they're slow rolling. They're talking about cutting the gas tax, but that really ain't gonna help too much if this war continues. Like, the crazy thing is, because of the debt actually going about 40 trillion, that we might have to raise taxes. So, like, let's be real here. Like, nothing is really going well for Americans when it comes to affordability. And all we're seeing is Trump taking all these escapades of, well, I guess what, luxury designing the White House. And I'm gonna be real with you, we didn't vote for him to do that. We voted for him to help out with the economy, help out with affordability, and of course, no new wars, so we can actually prosper as a nation for once. But we can't even get that from this man. Instead, we're getting, well, kind of sounds like he's living out his real estate dream of designing the White House, seeing what he used to do.
And the people who feel victimized. I mean, I'm so old. I remember when most Republicans used to balk and be shocked and outraged by the idea of reparations to people who suffered slavery. But we're going to be giving money to January 6th insurrectionists. That part's okay. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Scott, is this reparations?
I wouldn't say reparations. I think they're grossly misframing it. If anything, we could say class action lawsuit, but reparations is crazy now. Come on now.
Look, I think there's a lot about it we don't know. I don't know who's on the committee. I don't know exactly who's going to be applying for it.
The people that Trump approves.
Well, they say anybody can apply for it, and I don't think.
Okay, I'll apply for it. You think I'll get it?
Have you ever been unfairly targeted by the Department of Justice?
I have been unfairly targeted by this administration. Yeah.
Have you been unfairly prosecuted by the Department of Justice?
Are those the people that are going to be in this?
So the answer is no, you haven't. So the question is, has anyone in the history of the United States ever been unfairly targeted by the Department of Justice? Of course they have, and there ought to be, just at a top line, a way for people to seek recourse if they have been unfairly targeted. That having been said, this all started by the fact that Donald Trump had his tax returns unfairly and illegally leaked by the IRS. That's where all this started, and he was initially seeking damages for that, which he has given up. He'll receive no money, as I understand it, and now it has morphed into this idea that there have been people that have been unfairly targeted. All of this makes me a little uncomfortable because it's a lot of money and it didn't go through the U.S. Congress. Yeah. That's number one. Number two, I don't want to see a president necessarily handpicking people to get payments where he could be accused of just picking people out who are political allies. But do I want a world where if you've been unfairly targeted by the federal government and it was truly unfair and you truly had something done to you that should not have been done, do I think people should be able to seek recourse for that? Absolutely, I do, because I think it probably happens. And not on a partisan basis, but it probably happens all the time. And I think people ought to be able to seek some sort of damages if they've been unfairly targeted by the department or by the federal
government.
So
James Comey or just
right?
James?
I mean, I guess the question is, you've got this. The overarching thing that has people really riled is the January 6th rioters, some of whom pled guilty. I was in one of the trials for the Proud Boys and for the Oath Keepers, and I watched the whole thing and I watched it play out, and it played out as any trial would play out. And here they're pardoned, and they could seek money should they be able to.
My personal view is anybody who committed documented violence against the government or against police officers, they've not been unfairly treated. If they ended up being convicted of a crime because of violence they committed, I got no real sympathy for them. Now, if there were people who were on the periphery that were swept up, over prosecuted, whatever, and they have a, you know,
But here's the thing, though. Like, he didn't have to do this. That's what makes it look corrupt. I mean, if you want to sue the government, sue the government. Like, you could do that. Anybody could do that right now. If they feel like they've been wronged by the government, you could sue them. Like, but creating a whole fund and avenue for it is just like, all right, well, what was all this for? This doesn't make sense. Like I said, you set up a class action lawsuit fund for what? To pay MAGA allies, including rioters, the way they're framing it. But then also, like I said, people like Letitia James and James Comey could possibly claim it as well, depending on their case. Or depending if they're being, you know, picky about it, if they're picking and choosing, because you never know. It could just be for conservatives or just MAGA or those who they feel like were wrongfully persecuted that are just conservatives. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this Pierce Morgan debate. I think this was a pretty good one. I mean, it's always good when they got that guy Wilt Chamberlain on there, kind of making himself look stupid. It's always a good time when that guy's on. So let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. And let's make sure to like the video as well. We only got 7 likes, so let's see if we can get to 10 likes. So smash that like button, guys, and appreciate the support. All right, let's jump right into it. I'm so upset that Massey lost, but it is what it is.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv.
3? I ain't gonna lie, bro. Look, Scott Jennings' job got way harder when this war went down. Chamberlain made it? No, it's Chamberlain, I think. But look,